Good afternoon, Ohio. James Ernest of the Grueling Truth Radio Network here with MLW star Tom Lawlor. Tom, thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
We're excited to talk to you about the MLW restart. So tell us, what time is that event tonight?
There are multiple ways to actually watch the MLW restart. Up Fubo TV network, DAZN, beIN Sports, YouTube. I believe 7 p.m. tonight Eastern will be the first glimpse at the restart of MLW after, of course, about 7-8 months away due to this COVID pandemic. But what you're going to see, I think, is the best version of MLW yet.
What did you miss most about MLW Fusion and not being able to be a part of it?
I mean, to me, like, one of the most gratifying, satisfying aspects of professional wrestling is being in the ring. You know, whether there's fans there or not, obviously in these times, things are a little bit different. There's, shows that go on with no fans. There's shows that go on with limited fans. But regardless of if the fans are there or not, my passion is actually getting in there and wrestling. So, having to sit on the sidelines and not being able to actually get in there and practice what I preach was the toughest part. And, obviously it wasn't tough physically, but, mentally, the aspect of having to sit out and not be able to do the thing that you enjoy the most pretty much sucks.
So who's going to be on the show tonight?
Tonight will be Jacob Fatu defending his world title against Davey Boy Smith Jr. So two gentlemen, I guess I'll use the term loosely, from historic wrestling families. Fatu comes from the Samoan heritage, and Davey Boy Smith Jr. Is the son of British Bulldog, who was, part of the Hart Wrestling family after a while, and also, had his own awesome career before even that. So there's two guys right there who have been intertwined. They've been in wrestling their entire lives, battling for the world title. You're also going to have Myron Reed defending his middleweight title against Brian Pillman Jr., another person coming from the legacy of the Hart family. His dad, Brian Pillman, was a star in the late 90s. And I believe also Hammerstone is in action, but I don't know who he's going to be facing. So those are the advertised matchups for tonight. So two title matches right off the bat as we're getting going again.
Wow, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a great card, and of course, it sounds like it could be a huge night for the Hart Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be quite honest. Like, I don't know what happened. I have no clue what happened in these matches. I didn't see the matches. The setup was a little different than normal, and it wasn't like being at the live arena show where you can kind of watch and see everything that's going on. We were separated, so I'm equally as excited as everybody else is to actually see what comes out of the action.
Well, I was going to say we're excited about the restart, but we want to focus on you because we're excited about having you on the show today. What sports did you play growing up?
And I mean, honestly, I can't think of one that I didn't do. I know that the typical experience growing up as a kid, but I think I did, and I just, I played soccer, basketball. I was terrible at all of the team sports, basically, and it wasn't until I hit high school and started playing football, got onto the wrestling mat that I really started, I enjoyed it before, but I really fell in love with sports once I started wrestling. And amateur wrestling is one of these sports where you're not going to get a lot of, there's not a lot of fanfare. In Ohio, actually, there's probably more focus on amateur wrestling than in most other parts of the country. And, I was in a place where it wasn't like a huge deal growing up. It wasn't a huge deal when I started wrestling in high school. But the satisfaction of, being in a one-on-one competition and either winning or losing based solely upon what you put into it, really drew me into it. So, I played every sport when I was younger, but aside from like baseball, I really wasn't, into them.
So tell us about your time at University of Central Florida.
So I was, I guess you gotta pick a place to go to college. So I ended up there in Orlando. I don't know what to say besides, I partied a lot. Most of my memories probably left in the bar room there. But I also wrestled while I was there. And during that time while I was in college, I also started getting involved in MMA and mixed martial arts. So I was at like a pretty young age when I started getting into, this entire business. So I'd say, from a pretty early age, from the early 20s, this has been my life. I was in the UFC for, over 10 years. I had my first professional fight, 13 or 14 years ago. But I had an amateur fight before that, so I've been fighting since 2003. So for 17 years of my life, if not longer, it's essentially been focused on mixed martial arts, professional wrestling, amateur wrestling, and like fighting people in a one-on-one arena. So when I think about all my memories and stuff from college, or even from 5-10 years ago, it's all pretty much focused around the sports.
So how has that helped you to transition into professional wrestling, your experiences in MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest things that people don't think about is if you've been in real fights, if you've been in real combat situations, you know whether you're hurting somebody or not. And a lot of wrestlers, I would say, don't train in a realistic way. A lot of wrestlers, they're more focused on the show aspect of it and putting themselves in danger than they are actually working on the real techniques of not getting hurt as you're wrestling. And that's really the biggest thing, I think, is, I know when I've hit somebody too hard. So I know, what I can get away with and what I can't. And a lot of wrestlers just don't have that ability. They don't have the timing. They don't have the accuracy with what they're doing. And it's not a situation like I did professional wrestling in 2005. So I did professional wrestling. I fought for a long time, and then I went back to professional wrestling. But the toughest aspects of getting back into it aren't the physical aspects. It's the mental aspects. It's trying to draw a crowd into what's going on in the ring. It's the live theater aspects of the performance, which are the tough part. Going from an MMA cage into the wrestling ring, for the most part, physically it's pretty easy, but mentally, emotionally, that's the stuff. That's the hard part.
So who is Team Filthy?
Well, we're the baddest guys that you're going to find. Right now, there's been a few incarnations of Team Filthy. Myself, obviously, the leader, Filthy Tom Lawlor, and in the MLW restart, I have been rejoined by my compatriot from Ohio, from Canton, actually the Canton Crippler, Dominic Guarini, a decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitor, is back with Team Filthy, and he has also found a new tag team partner for himself in Kevin Koo. So myself and the team of Violence is Forever are the core of Team Filthy.
And of course, you're led by a great coach, Dan Lambert. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, well, we formed an alliance with Dan Lambert and King Mo of the American Top Team. Obviously coming also from an MMA background, I'm familiar with Mo. I've known him for years. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and there's a lot of factions in MLW. There's a lot of groups fighting for control, and the more the merrier. I mean, we linked up with King Mo and Dan because, quite frankly, they're the top of the food chain. Dan Lambert put together what is the greatest mixed martial arts team in the history of the UFC with American Top Team, and he's a chief strategist. He's a genius when it comes to what's going on backstage, and you're going to see it in the restart.
Now, one of your many accomplishments in MLW is winning the Battle Riot. What is a Battle Riot?
It'd probably be easier to answer what's not a Battle Riot. There's essentially no rules. 40 men have the chance to get in that ring at 1 minute intervals, and the last man standing, whether it be via pinfall, submission, or being eliminated over the top of the rope and thrown to the floor, the winner is then given a automatic title shot at the MLW World Title. So I went in, I believe, number 5 in the first ever Battle Riot, and outlasted 35 other men. Took about, 50 minutes for me to do, but I defeated Jake Hager. He was the other last man in there, tossed him out, and then went on to defeat Low Key with that title shot that I earned at the Battle Riot. So if they're going to do another one, if there's plans for another one coming up soon, I'll be the first 2-time winner.
Nice. So that was at a Super Fight that you beat Loki to win the World Championship.
Yeah. Super Fight in, I believe it was February, a couple of years ago in Philadelphia at the 2300 Arena, the old ECW Arena, a place that has been, it's hallowed grounds to many wrestling fans out there who, grew up watching that style. And, it was cool to wrestle in that building and win the world title there. But, that's just one of the things I've done in my life. I've got, more things I want to accomplish. Obviously, we talked earlier about Fatu and Davey Boy Smith fighting for the world title tonight. That's something I want to do again. And there's also other belts in MLW I haven't won. I don't discriminate.
Excellent. Yeah, because actually that was funny that you mentioned those two, because that was literally my next question I had written down, saying, hey, are you going to fight the winner of the two of them for your belt so you can get your belt back?
Yeah, well, it's not really up to me. There's I don't know what the plan is as far as who's going to get a title shot against either of those guys, but there's other stuff going on in MLW. Court Bauer, the head, put out the cold open video package for the restart tonight, and if you have a chance to see it, you'll notice there's a focus on myself, Low Key, our battles, Contra Unit, what they've done in MLW recently, and there's also mention of the Opera Cup, which I heard is coming back this year. Last year, I wasn't invited into the tournament, so I'm hoping that this year's a little bit different. So, I don't know if I'm going to get the shot at Davey Boy or Fatu, but I'm hoping I get a shot at that Opera Cup.
Excellent. That would be a great stepping stone as another amazing thing you've done in your career. Now, recently you had signed a multi-year deal with MLW. Why did you sign with MLW?
Well, being with MLW, they allow me to be involved in other outside, projects. Obviously, like we talked about, I've been involved in mixed martial arts for a long time, and being with MLW, they were happy to work with me on letting me, both achieve my goals in MLW of being the absolute best professional wrestler that I can be, and also continuing some other things in mixed martial arts. So, essentially, it was a no-brainer. You only get one life, and there's stuff I want to accomplish in MLW. There's stuff I want to accomplish out of there, and I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Last year you celebrated Thanksgiving by hitting Ross Von Erich with a chair. What are your plans for this Thanksgiving?
Well, if I get the chance, I'm hoping things kind of clear up in the world before then, so I can fly to Hawaii and just repeat the same thing and mash him in the head with a chair again. But I think this year I'll be staying at home.
Nice.
I'll be crashing that chair into a turkey as soon as it comes out of the oven.
Sounds awesome. And of course, before we summarize and go over the MLW, shoot how to watch it again, we want to go about your show, because you mentioned you do other things outside of MLW because they are an awesome company and they let you spread your wings. So tell us about the Filthy Tom Lawlor show.
I do a show, Filthy Four Daily, on the Wrestling Observer / Figure 4 online website. So you can check that out. Also, check me out on Twitter and Instagram if you have the chance, at Filthy Tom Lawlor, LAWLOR. That's how you spell the last name. And, you mentioned, obviously, MLW. I'm also scheduled to fight for the Professional Fight League in their 2021 season, $1 million tournament on ESPN Plus and ESPN2. So look for that to go down starting at the end of April. And also, the reason I'm here, the main reason, the MLW Restart, which it's found virtually anywhere you can find a TV. You're going to be able to find an app or a streaming service to check it out on Fubo. You can also watch BN Sports. It'll be on YouTube and DAZN starting tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Excellent. Well, Tom, we've enjoyed having you as a guest on the show. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web can they find out more about you?
Yep, at Filthy Tom Lawlor on Instagram and Twitter, and that's it.
Sounds great. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.